What's happening, everyone? Matt here with Covering Ground. So today I'm going to do a little DIY video again. Like mid-September, Wisconsin archery season opens up for whitetails. I've been trying to think of ways to, as far as like how I can keep my meat good if we end up harvesting something. Been looking at maybe getting a new cooler or two, or I've got 3 coolers, but they're old. They don't hold like a chill real well. So what I'm gonna do, and we're gonna test out this year, hopefully test out at least, is I'm gonna take one of my old coolers, just an old Rubbermaid cooler, and I'm gonna see if I can't insulate it. Basically, my goal here is not to necessarily keep this thing good for days, as far as the meat goes in there, but what I want to do is be able to keep it good for hours. So if we're processing a deer at our campsite, we can get this in the cooler, get some ice or something like that to keep it chilled, and also enough time then to bring it home to get it into the freezer. So we're gonna, I guess, go through this process, and hopefully this will work. Hopefully we can test it out this season and see how well it holds up. All right, so first, this is the back of the cooler, the hinge here. I've got another cooler I actually made do this too also, and I know it's got some little screws and the hinges are like little plastic flaps. This one, it looks like it's kind of wedged in there, so I'm gonna see if I can pop this lid off without breaking anything. Oh yeah, that was pretty easy. So what we're gonna start with is basically, you got these little ridges in here. I'm gonna take my drill. I'm gonna drill a few holes in here, and then I got this Loctite tight foam. It's an expandable foam, and this one here is for big gaps, since I'm gonna be filling in a big area between the lid and then all this space on the actual cooler. We're just gonna see how this works. I figure worst case scenario, it's not gonna hurt the cooler. So if in the end this does nothing, then I'm just back to square one, which isn't that big of a deal. I think one of these was like $6. I bought a handful because I'm not really sure how much it's gonna take, but we're gonna start with this and see where it goes. Another thing here is I'm going to drill all of my holes. I plan on doing it all on the outside of the lid, so it's not on the inside where all the moisture is going to be, just because there's going to be a lot more moisture than I'm expecting to have on the inside. So I don't want that to be able to penetrate up into the foam and get moldy or whatever may happen. This stuff is supposed to have its own sealant, this Loctite, so I don't really have to do anything. But what I'm expecting is going to happen is that when I'm done spraying, it's going to foam out a little bit. I'm going to let it all dry and harden up. I'm going to break off that foam, and then I'm going to get some silicone just in that hole to kind of help kind of reseal that hole. Something that you might use on like a bathroom floor tiles, just something that's water resistant, help keep the water out of the foam. So if there are any gaps in there, I don't want any mold forming. So I think we're gonna get started, and I'll just drill maybe one hole here on the backside, so that way I can reach into this cavity, and then also bend the nozzle to get into the sides, and then bend it into this way, and then the same on this side, so I can get into this cavity and then the side. We'll see how it goes. I may need to end up drilling a hole up on this part just to get into this cavity here too, but So I'm also gonna drill holes into this base, see if I can't just drill like a hole on each side, and see if that does the job. All right, so I drilled my first hole into the actual base of the cooler, and it looks like it's already foam insulated. It's probably pretty hard to tell. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get any more foam in there. I might try just to see if I can get a little more to spread in there, but otherwise I'm not going to drill any more holes in this until I know if that foam's actually going to sink in or if it's just going to try to spray out right away. So we'll fill the lid up, and then we'll make an attempt at the cooler, the actual base of the cooler. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just fill this back up with some silicone, and that'll kind of help reseal it. So all right, so that was actually pretty quick. Went through, and just the lid, about 2 cans of that Loctite. I still got a few more here, so I might try it on the other cooler I have upstairs. But basically this stuff is just overloading out of the holes, just expanding out of the holes, which is what I want. I know it's gonna be kind of messy for now, but what I'm hoping is that when that stuff hardens up, I should be able to just pop it right off. And then I did try it on the cooler base, but with that foam in there, it sounded like it was starting to take and go down a little bit, but a lot of it was just kind of blowing back. So I'm just gonna leave the cooler alone, hoping that little insulation that's in there is gonna be good enough. Not real confident with that, but I don't know at this point if there's a whole lot more that I can do. We're gonna put a pause on this for now. We'll come back tomorrow and we're gonna take a look at this stuff once it's hardened up. So we let the lid set for a day, and I actually think I made a work of art here. Gotta check this out. Isn't that magical? So yeah, this stuff apparently blew up and just expanded way more than I had anticipated. But I mean, this thing is rock solid. There's actually a little spot in the front that's still got a little give. So I may end up at some point in the future putting a hole right in the front just to fill up this front cavity here. But otherwise I'm gonna just hopefully break this stuff off, which is what I was hoping it was gonna happen. Oh yeah, just like that. And so basically what we have is this little hole left, and the foam broke off a little bit inside there, which is what I was expecting. And so that's where I'm gonna put the silicone. We're gonna be good to go, get the lid back on the cooler. Just one other thing is I did drill another hole in the side here to see if I can get the nozzle down in deeper, maybe behind the foam, just to fill in any gaps. And what happened was this bottom started just to like blow up. So what I did is I let it blow up, and then I stood in this for a couple of minutes thinking that my weight will help push this back down and kind of spread out the foam that's expanding in there, hoping to get it up the sides a little bit. Honestly, I don't think that it really filled in that much space around the cooler, but I would say it's still better than nothing, so I'll take it. But these lids are hollow, so I mean everything else, yeah, like I said, other than this, solid. So I'm just gonna continue breaking off these chunks of foam, and we're gonna get the lid back on the cooler and we should be good to go. We now have an old cooler that's been running on its last leg re-insulated. So this is, even just listening to this, it's got a much deeper thud versus that hollow sound. So I'm probably gonna do this to my other cooler that's very similar. We're good to go, and hopefully this thing's gonna keep deer good for a good chunk of time. You know, a couple hours like I'm hoping for. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, like it, put some comments down in the comment section. Let me know if you like what I did, if you didn't like what I did, if you think I should have done something different. I am very open to learning, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. But yeah, if you can subscribe, you can also check us out on Instagram. And thanks for watching. See ya.